from bitch, I'm perfect.
I never snitch on daddy. I hold a brick for daddy.
Hey everyone, today I want to talk about something personal. My experience 6 years post total hysterectomy. I know there's a lot of questions people have, so I want to break it down, share my story, and hopefully give some clarity for anyone curious about this journey. So first, for anyone who doesn't know, a hysterectomy is a removal of a female reproductive system. There are two main types, which are total and partial. A partial hysterectomy can mean just removing the uterus, but leaving the ovaries, fallopian tubes, and removing certain parts or keeping others. And a total, which is what I had, removes everything, uterus, cervix, and sometimes in additional reproductive tissues. It's important to know that there are different surgeries for a different reason, and everyone's situation is unique. I wanted to sit down and really talk about this because it's something people ask me all the time. Did you really think about it? Did you consider the future? So let me explain. Growing up assigned female, my reproductive system never felt like it belonged to me. It wasn't just a mental thing, it was physical too. The menstrual cycles, hormone changes, tracking fertility, I was very insistent, chronic pain, all of it. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it was overwhelming, and it caused constant dysphoria and made every day life harder than it needed to be. This wasn't something I could just ignore or push through. It affected how I felt in my body every day. So when I made the decision to have the surgery, I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew it was permanent. I understood everything that came with it. This wasn't rushed, and it was something I wasn't unsure about. I've never wanted a female anatomy, not even since I was 13, and that feeling never changed. So when people ask me now, years later, why did you choose the surgery? The answer is simple: because I chose myself, because I chose peace, because I chose to live in my body that finally feels like mine. Pregnancy was never something I wanted for myself. It wasn't my vision, it wasn't my future, and it doesn't take anything away from trans men who are carrying, want to carry, already have. I respect that fully. Everyone's journey is different. And for me, fatherhood has always meant something else. I've always pictured having a child through someone else carrying, and that's still what I want. Could I have preserved my eggs? Maybe. But it was expensive and out of reach for me at the time, and I didn't have access or information I needed. And honestly, I didn't want my life centered around my reproductive system anymore. I was already dealing with dysphoria, cysts, chronic pain, and cycles that would affect my daily activity and just my daily life. And pregnancy was never part of the plan. 6 years later, my feelings about kids have evolved, but my decision hasn't changed. I'm with someone who wants children, and I'm upfront about my reality, and I'm not trying to be someone's expectation. I want to be chosen as I am. Alright, dating. When it comes to dating and relationships, I want to be honest. I'm currently in a relationship, but before I got here, dating after my hysterectomy was incredibly difficult. One of the things I heard a lot was, what if you meet someone who wants kids? What do you think about 5 years from now? You should have waited. Did you think about anyone else when you made this choice? And my answer has always been no. Because the decision I made for my body has nothing to do with anyone else. It wasn't about their future, their expectations, or their experiences. This was about my life, my body, and my mental health. Dating wise, things honestly got worse after my hysterectomy, and I've already dealt with being fetished, seen only for looks or for sex. And after the surgery, the rejection hit harder. I've been pushed away. I've been told I'm less of a trans man because I can and won't carry a child. I've been even told that trans men who do carry are somehow more valid than me. I've heard it all. And I even got called selfish. But anywho, I've always been upfront when dating. I don't hide this part of my life. I tell people I clearly can't conceive or will never carry a pregnancy. And just because you've seen another trans man do it doesn't mean that's my path. And it never will be. Every trans experience is different. Some people don't believe in reciprocal IVF, and some want a child in a very specific way. And if someone tells me I care about you, this doesn't change how I see you, then great, we can move forward and history remains then. But if they say I'm not sure about this doesn't make sense for me, or we can just be friends because I see my future different and I want a family and yada yada, I accept that too. I do. I'm used to it. I used to be hurt by it, but now I understand that not everybody is meant to walk the path with me. The truth is, I will never be valid in everyone's eyes. I made peace with that. What I do want to say is this. I'm not the only trans man who had a hysterectomy. Some of us, I won't be the last. Some of us had it for medical reasons. Some of us had it for personal reasons. Some of it had it for both. And there are trans men with hysterectomies who have loving partners, beautiful families, marriages, and full lives. Parenthood and partnership are still possible. There are also people who won't date me because of religion and beliefs around reproduction, and that's their choice. Whether it's religion, personal values, or expectations about children, rejection happens in many forms. At the end of the day, I share this not for pity, but for honesty. And dating after a hysterectomy can be hard, especially as a trans man. No, not even. Yeah, especially as a trans man. But it doesn't mean love is impossible. It just means the right person will see me as a whole human, not a body, not a uterus, and not a function. No, I don't see any decision I made for my body as a regret. The only part that carried some emotional weight was not preserving my eggs at the time. But the hysterectomy itself, I don't regret that at all. I knew what I wanted, I knew what was right for me, and I made the choice that was best for my body and my life. Final thoughts, 6 years after my hysterectomy, I'll be honest. I do wish I had the chance to save my eggs, but I couldn't afford it at the time. 6 years later, I can say my hysterectomy with both ovary removals was still the right decision for me. I didn't fall apart or lose function like people often warn about. That fear gets overplayed a lot. What I gained was peace. No more chronic pain, cycle cysts, or the dysphoria that came with it, excuse me. That part of my life is just quiet now. Being on testosterone has been enough for me long term. I didn't experience anything extreme or unmanageable hormonally. Mentally, I'm more stable because I'm not consistently dealing with what my body was putting me through before. It's not a one-size-fits-all choice, but 6 years later, I don't regret it. It gave me relief and alignment in my life.